The first speaker for the day will be Mustafa. The first speaker of today's meeting has been watching news all his life. His curiosity about what is happening in the world pushed him to study economics through his master's degree. He is going to tell you some examples of how a local incident can cause a global ripple effect, and how the world turned into a giant machine in which if a smaller gear stops, that will cause other parts of the machine to stop. The speech will challenge you, your knowledge, and persuade you to step out of your comfort zone. Let's welcome Mustafa. Act locally, think globally. Act locally, think globally, Mustafa.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. We all hear the news every day, and we realize that we are living in an incredibly fast-moving world. We hear that, for example, the loonie exchange rate is going down. Nobody knows why. The exchange market in China may collapse next Monday. And there's been an oil crisis for the last 2 years. Nobody knows why and how it started. So, the world is going very tangled. And we feel that there are connections between different dots, but it's very difficult to figure out the big picture. So from my experience, I'm going to give you 3 examples. And with all due respect, I'm going to challenge you. For each example, I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to be difficult to figure out what's this cause and effect relationship for each of these 3 examples. So for example, number 1, let me give you a context. I used to work in a bottled water company in Dubai, mainly in sales, but sometimes I used to do the purchases because it's a medium-sized company. And the raw material of the bottled water is a plastic tube like this size, which we make a bottle of water from. And this tube is plastic, and plastic is made of polymer, which in turn made of oil. So I know from my experience, and it also makes sense, that whenever oil prices goes up, the preforms or this plastic tube price goes up, and the vice versa. So one day I was making a new order for the plastic tubes, and I was, because the oil price at that time, it was 2010, it was going down. So I was expecting that the preform price will go down. So surprisingly, the preform quotation came with the price were up. So let me challenge you for the question number 1. Why was the preform price going up while the oil price going down? And I'll give you a tip. It has something to do with the floods in Pakistan that destroyed most of the cotton crops on that year. Okay, so I'll answer it. The textile industry is one of the biggest in the world. And it makes garments and make furniture, curtain, all of that. And you can imagine how huge it is by looking at the world is 7 billion people and all of them need clothes. So what textile made of? It's made of maybe wool, silk, cotton, and also polymers. Sorry?
Polyester.
Exactly, you got it. So because the cotton crops was destroyed that year, so what textile manufacturers started to do, they started to increase the polymers percentages in different kinds of textiles. And that made a shortage for the polymers, which is made of plastic, and specifically the same kind of plastic that makes the plastic tube which we use. So that's the cause and effect relationship. It's tricky, isn't it? Yeah.
Amazing.
So
I was going to say that.
Okay, there's another one. There's another one. And I think you will get it this time. It's easier. So in the same year, in 2011, there was 3 different incidents in 3 different countries, in 3 different continents of the world. In Japan, Nissan closed 2 of its car factories. In South Africa, the flower farmers, they destroyed 400 tons of flowers of their own crops. And in Norway, the fishermen dumped tens of tons of fish, of the salmon fish, back to the sea. Challenging question number 2. Who can know what's the one disaster, natural disaster, that caused all these 3 things?
No, the radiation, the meltdown. What?
Natural disaster.
Did anybody got stuck in an airport in Europe in 2011? Exactly, that's right. So there was a volcano in southern Iceland that got erupted. It's made a huge cloud of ash, that was spreaded in northern Europe and mostly on the Scandinavian countries. It's get all the the cargo and the commercial flights on hold for about a week. And all these supply chains were just put on hold. So the third example is, who knows which country is the world leader in renewable energy? Germany, that's right. But this is not the challenging question. So Germany depends on renewables 28% of their total power demand. Challenging question number 3. Who knows what pushed them? What was the incentive that made them reach this great position? Sorry? It's not the main reason.
Nuclear disaster in Japan?
You're right, sir. I salute you. Yeah. So if we are here in this current time, Germany is spending billions of dollars to get there. If we go back in time, like 5 years, in 2011, we see that Angela Merkel announced that they will shut off all of their nuclear power stations within 10 years and they will start depending more on renewable energy. If we go back a few days from that, we will see a huge protest in all Germany against nuclear energy, and they demanding the government to shut it off. A few days before, we will see that in Japan, there was a nuclear disaster in Fukushima that caused the nuclear contamination, which is originally was because of an earthquake and a tsunami. So it's like something happened thousands of miles away, 5 years before, that caused another country to push forward to do a great thing. So to reach some takeaways from that, it's very important to have empathy to other countries, to think about what's happening in other parts of the world. Because maybe we can either learn from it, like the Germans learned from the Japanese, and we can also have the sense of we are all humans and we all live in the same country. And if we make something here, it may make an effect there, and vice versa. So, long story short, act locally, think globally. Mr. Toastmaster.